Okay, you should be able to see them. So I will start from the top, and there may be a couple more coming along the way. Are there any data available on, first, the time gained by prefabrication, and second, the cost of the renovation using prefabrication compared to traditional renovation?
Yeah, I can say a few words about that. First is the prefabricated part of the renovation is normally done in a few weeks. So off-site production, very precisely planned, of course, and on-site work for this kind of 3,000, 4,000, 7,000 square meter of school buildings is done in a few weeks. That's our experience in Austria. If that's the answer to the question, it was like this. The second, the cost of the renovation, and there is another question later on for the costs in comparison to a traditional renovation, I think. You can count that it's round about, when we have a normal renovation, an energetic one of a wall, for saying 100 or 120 euros in Austria, normally per square meter, you can say here that you range from 180 to 220 euro per square meter for this kind of renovation with a curtain wall construction, let's say. Then the second.
Okay, very good. Armin, feel free to go on with questions if you see that some are related.
Yes,
so I understand you also answered the next one. So please feel free to read them aloud and answer them directly then.
Yes. Can you please expand more on the budgets of the projects, realization and preparation? Yeah, the experience was that the budgets, for example, are very precisely, as I had it in the advantages in the end of my presentation, the part of the prefabrication was always in the planned range. So the budget is very precisely also what we know from Belgium projects until now, also in the Renew School. We learned that this is really precisely what is planned before the budget for this prefabricated part. As you know, there are some other problems maybe with statical things on site which are not investigated very good before starting the renovation. We had this in one case that they had problems with the statics there in the building, and then you have, of course, problems with the time schedule, but the prefabricated part is never the problem in any time schedule because the companies are normally very flexible and they need only weeks to realize this if they have a detailed planning how it should technically look like. And this is also true, as I said, for the budget. So this is no problem here. Problems are always from other parts of the buildings, like building services or statical things and so on. Next question, in the front-runner retrofits, the use of district heating is mentioned. Yes, there are, of course, also measures where the temperature is reduced in this network, but it's mostly when you have the heat exchanger from the district level to the local building level. There the changes are, and mostly there are installed also tanks, of course, storage tanks, additionally, at least for the hot water then. So to control better, for example, to run the district level on a little bit higher temperature when the water tanks should be filled, and then at a lower level when you only need heating. And of course, this is managed in a new way when you have this retrofitted building. So there are measures, of course. When you want to industrialize this type of renovation, holidays are too limited time. No, what we have seen in our ones are that the holidays are normally enough time to use, at least for the smaller school buildings, not for the bigger ones, of course. Then you need a little bit more weeks to do everything. But in the school, for example, in Rheinbach, it was enough time for the secondary school during summertime, and they exceeded the summer holidays in this year of renovation. They exceeded, I think, 2 weeks more holidays for the children, so that everything could be ready in the end. So this is also a possibility which is used in Austria, that you have 2 weeks more in summer on holidays, the children, so that you have a little bit more time for the renovation. I've seen in Austria single ventilation per classroom. In the hall there was a lot of moist. I don't see the lot of moist in the hall, but yes, of course, you can arrange the ventilation always in another way. The single ventilation per classroom is not the only way it is done in Austria. I've also shown a centralized mechanical ventilation system, which is also very good and used in a lot of cases in Austrian retrofitted schools. But here in this case I showed in Schwanenstadt, it was decided to do it like this because it was very good integrated in the modules and easily mounted then in the classroom. I think they wanted to try, and then as I told, they had only the noise problems where they got rid of, and then they are now satisfied also with this decentralized unit, but I'm also more a fan of the centralized, I have to say. So I think the next one, are there available test figures on the use of different materials, either for insulation? I don't know. I think I cannot give an answer to this question. The material side is, of course, a very difficult one when you think about fire protection regulations. And so sometimes it's used mineral wool and sometimes cellulose where it is possible, as I told you. But I think if you want to know more about the material part, I'm not the right one to answer this. The next one, is it possible to come with some people from the Dutch government? Yes, that's of course possible. We have a lot of different actions with these buildings. So if you want to have a technical tour, please contact me. How do you overcome the problem of exceeding the building line by quite a lot of centimeters and additional material? That's normally really no problem if you mean that you have then a wider wall and not enough space for the rest of the infrastructure there. It's normally no problem in the towns in Austria, but maybe of course in the cities. Okay, hopefully it was.
Maybe I can add something here.
Yes, Mark, please.
Yes, thank you. Well, only on two of the questions I might say something. To industrialize this type of renovation, it says somewhere you should do these 2 classrooms at a time. Well, until now we've seen that it's really possible to do this also with larger schools, because in many cases larger schools have more than one building on site. So it can be done during about 6 weeks summer holiday. Now in Belgium we have 8 weeks summer holiday. We're kind of happy about this. So this gives us these 2 weeks extra, which you were mentioning about in Austria. But in many cases you can do the preparatory work, which means all the bolts on the existing facades, for instance, while the school is still working. And you only need to put the definite modules on the facades during this 6 to 8 weeks summer holiday. It's very well possible, and it's been shown in almost all of the projects we've seen, that this short time on site what's possible. And it's also the main reason why people would choose this as an owner or a user of a school building, because it doesn't interfere with the normal school life. And then the question of exceeding the building line, that's really an issue if it's a building in the city center, which we are going to try to investigate next year. Well, we started together with the University of Antwerp to see in which way we can stay within, let's say, the existing building line, or not exceeding it more than we, by bylaw of the city of Antwerp, are allowed to. But if it's really necessary, we can always change the bylaw and make it possible. It's just a question of political choice, if you want to have a building done with an installation on the outside or not. And if you will accept the fact that in that case your building might be a bit larger on the sides than it originally was.